the app hit play, that's that talking Bama. From the huddle to the hardwood, whole state on camera. From the Walk of Champions to them rims in the Coliseum. We break down schemes, break news before you see it. Talking Bama. Talk that tide, hit that intro, let it ride. From the fall to the March Mad Nights, we talking Bama, keep you locked in tight. Talking Bama. Roll that tape from the field to the paint. We stay up late if it's Bama. We on your dial. Talking Bama, got the whole state wild.
Oh.
Welcome in, guys. That is the brand new intro for Talking Bama. Shout out to that man, Big Mike.
Yeah.
Shout out to that man, Big Mike. And you know, wrestling. What is it? Wrestling Run-In podcast. Herb.
Run-In wrestling podcast.
See. There's my dyslexic coming out right there. I flipped it all the way around.
Like all the words were there at least. You know.
Yes, I knew what it was. A little dyslexic moment from right there. I'm JT, your host, guys. As always, it's Sunday night Talking Bama. We have the boys with us as well tonight. Herb and Damo. How you boys living tonight? How y'all living?
I'm good. I feel like whenever Clint's on, I should be wearing a suit and tie in respect to the legend. But he always says, "Hey guys, calm down. You know, we're good." So I feel a little more relaxed. But man, I'm looking forward to a great show.
Is the whole point, like every time you bring me on, we're gonna make Clint blush before we even get started on the show? Is that like the goal? Because every time you have something that hypes me up, don't get me wrong. I mean, you certainly, I come off of your shows with a bigger head than when I joined, but also you make me blush.
Well, Clint, you may have missed it, but on this show, what was it? When was it? About a month ago now?
I'm gonna stop you, JT. I made that part of his intro on our show, telling him that he was the number one. I told him on our show that why he says blush. I part of the intro to introducing him.
So
yes, so his intro was he's the one that got us the 2-hour scrimmage for ADay game. Yes. And I already heard the second, and then the third one was rated the number one Alabama podcaster by this show right here. And I told him it was not even a discussion. We started at number 2. So
literally all of us are like, well, we all feel Clint's going to be 1, right? Just double check the room, right? Okay, cool. 2 is, and no joke, that's not to ump you up, man. That's not because you're here right now. You were not even on our show, obviously, when we did it. We didn't have any guests on. It was just kind of a us thing because, you know, we watch other creators too. We watch other guys. Like in our humble, respectful opinion here, we are not I would say a necessarily informational show as much as you are, Clint. We are a fan hype show. Now we do have some information. We do know some things, obviously from a fan standpoint, and we do things like that. But I kind of look at it in a different light, and you were at that high level, brother, that knows like the great knowledge of X and O's too, man. X and O's. And hey, to intro our guest tonight, right there, that man Clint Lamb. How you doing tonight, Clint?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate it. I really do, fellas. Like I think people nowadays, they want authenticity. And so that is one thing that your show always brings. Every one of you guys, I think that's how you've been able to build what you've been able to build. And I mean, I know that I look at things probably a little bit differently. I'm kind of in that balance of there's going to be emotion involved. I'm not going to be your traditional media member. I don't just like, I love Alabama football, love college football, but I also, you know, try to, over the years, I've had to try to manage those emotions. So I'm kind of in the middle, but I absolutely love kind of people who don't necessarily do what I do as far as how they cover, you know, Alabama football. You guys bring more of the entertainment, and you still bring a lot of value as far as the conversations. And, you know, I think you guys have a really good pulse for the fan base and kind of reflect how they feel on a lot of things. So I definitely respect what you guys are doing as well.
And see, Clint, that's kind of the angle we shoot at. That's our thing. We know we don't want to act like something we're not. And I tell people that all the time with us here, man. We're not going to act like we got Kalen DeBoer's phone number. You know, me and Kalen DeBoer do have the same birthday. I do want to put that out.
Really?
Yeah.
We do. Me and Kalen DeBoer. Hey, fun fact, and Drake does. Me, Kalen DeBoer, and Drake have the exact same birthday. OVO game, baby, October 24th. But yeah, we do. And then, hey, fun fact, 7 days later is the GOAT's birthday, Nick Saban. So it's something around that time frame, guys. It's just DeBoer's he's like 7 days before Saban, so it's going to take him a little longer to get a natty. That's just how that works. Okay.
Wow.
It's how that.
I'm in June, so I guess I don't got nothing. So.
No, everybody brings their own table. I just know mine. So, but we're going to kick it off tonight, guys. 1st and 10 as always. And hey, real quick to the chat. Hey, I see you guys. Y'all are popping off right now. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're having a good time laughing, cutting up. We're going to get into it though tonight. We got Clint with us. We got some great questions, some great knowledge going to go down. As 1st and 10, as always, we know we talk about whatever sports going on right now. I know this, and I'll say this on air. I don't care. We can do whatever we got to do, but Michigan cannot win the tournament, okay? I don't care what we got to do. I don't care who wins it. They cannot win it, okay? I don't care. I was borderline Tennessee fan today. Okay, it's hard to say that, but I was borderline like I don't want Michigan to win.
I don't know, bro. With the way Michigan is looking right now, if they come out and they beat Arizona, I think they're gonna win it,
for sure.
I think if any team can beat them, because Arizona does match up really well with Michigan.
They do.
So if Arizona can't get it done, I might just go ahead and pencil them in for cutting down those nets. So yeah.
Ah, man. So Arizona almost looks unbeatable though, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be real.
Arizona's tough.
Yeah. Clint, kick us off tonight, 1st and 10, man. What's something that you got? Maybe Alabama football, may not be. Some sports related that you want to talk about, brother.
Well, one of the things is something I've been doing here recently, and it takes a while. I mean, you guys know sometimes it's even difficult, and I think Alabama gets really great coverage as far as, depth chart projections and who certain guys are as far as trending towards starting at different spots and how different pieces fit in. And so, that's not every SEC program has that. So I've been diving in and really taking a ton of time. I think I'm probably 4 or 5 teams in as far as putting together some sort of loose depth chart. Obviously, I don't have my ear to the ground with those programs, but I'm reading everything I can. I'm going to watch film. In today's, I dove 2 feet into LSU. And just the amount, we knew that they hit the transfer portal hard. That was, pretty clear. I think everybody knows that. But the way that I have the depth chart set up is anybody who is a transfer portal player, I put in red. The freshman I put in blue. And then if you're just, black, then that means that you're a returning player. The amount of red on this, and I list pretty much everybody, all the freshmen, and it's pretty extensive. The amount, especially offensively, that they have had come in, the number of receivers. They don't have one single returning receiver from what I saw, or at least none that I have listed at this point. All 3 of your quarterbacks are brand new. 4 of your 6 running backs are brand new. Tight ends. This is like this at every single position. Only 2 of the 5 starters along the offensive line are returning players. Braylon Moore and Weston Davis at right tackle. What do you guys think? Because as I'm looking at this, I was blown away. Now, granted, this is the current era of college football, but it's like that amount. First of all, on paper, it does look really strong. It really does. We have no idea how it'll end up looking, and especially with Lane Kiffin. Like one of the things that I do with Kalen DeBoer in Alabama right now, because we have not seen him go have a season where he didn't lose a game he was not supposed to, I can't go into a season just saying, oh, that's going to be cleared up and fixed. They did do a really good job of, after Florida State, avoiding having another one of those. So I'm encouraged, but I can't just assume that problem is fixed. Well, Lane Kiffin has kind of always had that problem as well. So I'm going in and I'm trying to project LSU's win-loss record, and I'm kind of penciling in they're going to lose probably to somebody they shouldn't lose to, especially in year 1 in this transition. But I just wanted y'all's opinion on the amount of turnover, because while Alabama, we think they have had extensive turnover, they don't even come close to touching what LSU has done. And yet a lot of people, because of the talent level, they're sky high on LSU heading into 2026.
Yeah,
I think it's what Kat just said right here. Biggest question is, are the fans prepared to accept a very young team this year? And I think that's a great way to look at that. Are they?
Alabama fans are not. So for Clint's exact question on LSU, I feel like offensively, Lane always knows how to play to his strengths. So all the transfer they have on that end of it, they'll figure it out. And to your other kind of question in there, they're going to lose a game that they're not supposed to, because they're game planning right now for Alabama. Lane wants to beat Alabama. So the game or 2 before that, that'd be the worst. So I think offensively they'll still be fine because he draws up different stuff. And I imagine it's like, hey, he's telling the defensive coach, just make it work. Good luck. I'm also still going to run really up tempo. So all those young guys you have in there are going to be on the field way more than they should as well. So good luck to you. But that's how I feel about the LSU thing.
I'm gonna call this right here, right now, on air, September 19th. It will be the day that Ole Miss fans will people will probably get tatted on their chest, okay? Because Ole Miss is going to win that game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I do not see a way
I like
Ole
it.
Miss does not win that game. It's in Oxford.
It's in Oxford.
That's gonna be a 6:30 p.m. kickoff. It better be.
If
You
I'm
better
Lane
not give us
Kiffin,
no 11 a.m.
I
kickoff.
get extra security.
Yes,
brother.
agreed. I would too. 6:30, but Clint, to touch on that, I actually said this, and I think I shared it was what's the quarterback dude?
For LSU?
Austin Brooks. Austin Brooks. He just did something on Lane Kiffin and LSU. I shared his thing. I was like, hey, I personally feel like this. You can have all the 5 stars, you have all the great things in place that you want. There's this thing in life called karma. And when you do something that is like on the level he did to those players at Ole Miss, in my opinion, just up high and dry, and to like you had a chance to win a natty. You had a chance to win a natty right here, right now. Okay, so is it about LSU and the 10 million or 15 million, whatever you got paid? Or is it about a winning a national championship? Like, at what point? That's where I feel like Lane's gonna get caught up trying to go back and forth and not go full throttle. And I think he's gonna end up. I think it's not gonna be good for LSU. And I think by 5 years, Lane will be gone.
Well, he can say whatever he wants to. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this real quick.
You're good, bro.
He can claim whatever he wants to claim. If he legitimately believed in his team this past season, I think he's doing whatever it takes to stick around because he actually was like, hey, we got a chance to win a national title. He didn't believe they were going to do what they did in the playoffs. And obviously emotion, and I'm sure the team rallying together due to what was happening with Lane Kiffin certainly probably helped them in a lot of ways. But I mean, that is something where someone in the comments said they feel like he's currently pushing that it's going to be a process, and it's like you didn't spend and you didn't get people to empty their pockets for it to be a process. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that. So if that's the expectation that you're trying to push now, understand the people who bought you that roster, they do not share those sentiments. I can assure you.
Yeah, that is true. So Herb, 1st and 10, brother, what you got?
It was disappointing, of course, to lose that game. Especially Michigan. And look, as strong as they look right now, hey, maybe it makes you feel a little bit better. But my biggest takeaway from that, which was the press conference afterwards, and I think it was a little clumsy. I would have never brought up Bediako, right? But the parts of it where he finally admitted, like, look, my roster is working, but I got to get a couple big guys who know that they're big guys.
Yeah.
That's Alabama. And we've all been saying it all year, so this is not a revelation. But we know you got to get at least 2. We don't need the next big guy to have a jump shot. We need you to go get me double-digit rebounds every game and develop 2 moves. One little mini jump hook and one move you can spin and go this way. That's all I need from
the
you.
Michigan guy, the 7
Yeah,
Michigan,
you know what I mean?
Pick
That's
and roll.
all I need.
And they were mad when Sherelle didn't go out to them. They were mad when Sherelle was staying in the middle because they couldn't utilize them. So you're right, Herb.
Yeah, just get us a couple, and that's what's going to complete this roster. This roster that he had right there with Phylon playing the way he was and Sherelle, playing the way he was, most improved to me this year, is a big guy or 2 away from actually competing. Now, I understand there was a couple misses on the roster this year. That's fine. But you need a true, legitimate, like 5-star center who wants to get down there and bang. And I think that'll be better. Sherelle can slide over to the 4, which I think he'd be more comfortable at anyway. They're talking about Amari Allen can move down. It fixes your whole roster. So, but I'm going to end on a good note. Congratulations to the basketball team getting to another Sweet 16. For people who are disappointed, you don't remember what basketball was before Nate Oates, and you don't realize how tough it is at a football school to do what he is doing consistently. Celebrate your victories. It's still an achievement to get to the Sweet 16.
I'll take that all day. If you're telling me you're in the top 16 of basketball schools, what is it? 100 and what? There's like 100 and what? 50, 40 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
It's a lot of
basketball
it's
schools.
more. Yeah, there's more basketball than
No,
college.
three. You're talking like 360.
Oh, okay. Well, way off. So you're telling me you're in the top
64
16.
get in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's got to be a
Yeah.
much smaller percentage.
So you're telling me the top 16 of 360, bro. Yeah, I'll not saying we're gonna settle and be like, yep, cool, we won an Addy here at Sweet 16, but we're not gonna be like, oh yeah, failure and fire Nate Oates. Like, definitely not the thing there. Damo, wrap us up right here, big dog.
Well, to really piggyback off what Herb said, if Nate Oates really plays it smart, he'll have a great core coming in for next season. If I was him, I would try to get Holloway back at Alabama. Hopefully, they reinstate him and do whatever. You bring Aiden Sherrill back, okay. I think you try to convince Amari Allen to come back because he did not end his freshman season how he wanted to. I like London Jemison as well. I got a lot of faith in him. If he develops just like a consistent jump shot, he will be a problem, for Alabama. Like Herb said, you go into the portal and you at least get you at least like 2 big men, right? You need a couple 6'9", 6'10" guys in there. And you just build around that, man, and you get you some guards who love to attack the basket. They shoot the three, right? But attack the basket when the 3 ball is not falling.
Yep.
And that's really what came back to bite us against Michigan. That 3 ball wasn't falling, and our backup plan was LeBaron Feiline, just come save us, do what you can do, right?
Every time. No, yeah, I mean, you're right.
Every time. He put up
Feiline he did what he could do. 35 wasn't enough. If you look at the box score, it was literally LeBaron Feiline versus Michigan's whatever 5 they had on the court. So it was a great season. I said we were going to lose in the second round. Don't crucify me, but I said second round with the way the season was going at first, but picked it up, Sweet 16. So I'll take that. So
I said Elite 8 would be the ceiling in my opinion, and I would be mind blown if anything happened after that. But I felt like Elite 8 was kind of like around the range for us. I feel like Sweet 16 was a solid medium, but I mean, I could have seen us in the 32 if we'd end up with the right team in the 32, man. Like a St. John or somebody that we would have matched up, that Houston, somebody that we would have matched up with that maybe had bigs and stuff like and that's another thing. I'm glad Herb you said that Nate doubled down on saying, hey, I know the elephant in the room now, no pun intended with that, but I know the elephant in the room and I need to. Oh God, what?
UConn just, oh my gosh.
UConn won?
UConn they just beat Duke. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
They just beat Duke.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all have to see the whole sequence.
You gotta see that shot.
UConn down 3 with the ball.
Moly.
Right? They get 10 seconds left.
Everybody's tweeting good night, Duke. What a game.
UConn had the ball down 3, right? They get fouled with 10 seconds left. They make one of the free throws, the second one. They steal the ball after the inbound. Like somebody inbounds it, they try to throw the ball up the court. They tapped it, steal, guy comes down, nails this 3. Dude, I turned this game off at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, what was the largest they were down by?
Like 20. I think it was like 20, right? Like 20, 21 points.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I had seen it, it was like, I want to say 17 or 18 points. So, I mean.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Let a big lead just kind of get them knocked out of the tournament.
Oh, wow. That is wild, guys. That is wild. I'm looking at it now. That is wild. What a shot. What a game that is. Everybody, literally, that is the whole thing. That is my tweet is going.
19 was Duke's largest lead, is what it says.
Bro.
Wow.
They put Tiger Woods with Duke.
He's having a rough weekend.
UConn's largest lead was 2.
Bro, Tiger Woods is having a horrible weekend, bro.
Yeah.
This might be worse than when the stuff broke off the
Oh my
Other
goodness.
stuff he had, man.
UConn led 2-0, and now they lead now. Everything else has been all Duke.
Wild. So we're gonna get right into the main topics tonight, guys. Sorry, that threw us off a little bit. March Madness.
It's
Welcome
wild.
to it, baby. Elite 8 coming up.
Yeah.
First topic tonight, guys. Offensive identity. What Alabama wants to be. What does that necessarily mean? So I'll start off with our special guest tonight, our man Clint. What does a perfect Alabama offense look like in 2026 compared to a 2016, compared to a 2020? Because the game has changed. It's evolved. What is something that the Tide is going to have to look for in this year's identity for offense?
Well, I think the number one thing, I mean, it's going to continue to be pass centric. It doesn't want to be super pass heavy. Now, granted, I think if Ryan Grubb had his way, it probably would be pretty pass heavy, but he understands or has understood the importance of having a complementary run game. A lot of times it is, hey, we know we need to, run the football and be able to run the football effectively, but it is all to set up what we really want to do in the passing game. I think they want to be more vertical downfield. That's something that was kind of lacking. They were really good in that 15 and 20 yard range. Ty Simpson, especially in the first 7, 8, 9 games, he was really good as far as that was concerned. But I'm talking about pushing the ball vertically. We saw that at Washington. Wasn't able to get much going on that front this past season. And so I think you're going to want to see that. But also the number one thing that we all talk about is you got to have a threat of a run game. And it's going to be complementary. It's not going to be something that you rely on as far as or turn to in those critical moments necessarily. It's not like they're going to get in the fourth quarter, have an 8 or 9 or 10 point lead, and then all of a sudden they start running the football every play to try to run clock. They want to be able to do that sometimes when you are sitting on a lead, but they're going to continue to be who they are offensively. But just this past season, they reached a point where they just weren't getting anything. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. Yeah. And I think that affected everything else. So as far as, offensive identity, I think that's kind of, how you go about achieving some of these things will be, dictated or dependent upon who ends up starting at quarterback, how much is your run game improved, who is some of your personnel, and, how are they gelling and what are they doing? Are you playing to their strengths and all of that stuff? But overall, got to be able to run the football better. But the passing game is still going to be the main identity of this offense, in my opinion.
So passing game now, if we don't come out with East Carolina and have 100 yards rushing, I think there might be pitchforks outside. I got a feeling that it's going to be a little upset there. Clint, I like that. You cannot take away the passing attack or the identity of that. And then you just kind of want to build that running around it. I was rewatching the Alabama-Oklahoma game from the playoffs, and there was a play where Daniel Hill, man, had where the line kind of collapsed to the left, and he kind of cut back, and he had a solid 20, 30-yard run. Looked like one of our best runs of the season. And I was just like, man, like, there it is. Like, we just need that, like, at least, like, 5 or 6 more times a game, okay? And it just be, like, a little bit better, and it wouldn't be as of a meltdown. And Oklahoma's defensive line was nothing to toot your nose at this year. They had a great D-line. Actually, they hung their hat
like
around
top
that
5 nationally, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that they hung their hat. They're talking about identity. That was more or less their identity was the defensive line for them.
Well, there's a reason they went and got Trent Simpson because of his experience as far as witnessing, everything that Kane Womack is talking about this offseason, that he wants this defense to do better as far as creating more havoc in the backfield, whether that be tackles for loss, being disruptive on the quarterback, or sacking the quarterback. That was Oklahoma's defense. I mean, they were fantastic at creating negative plays and putting you in unfavorable situations. So that's absolutely going to be something that, they're going to be looking to do. And something else as far as the offensive identity, if you are presented numbers, if you are given opportunities, and whether that be running the ball, throwing the football downfield, whatever, they're going to want to be able to take advantage of it. They don't want anything where a defense feels like, I thought this past season, and I talked to some of the coaching staff, and they kind of said they felt like that the offense this past season had an opportunity to be very complete, be one of those, not saying to the same caliber, so no one run with this, but as far as like LSU 2019, very balanced, really good quarterback play, had some mobility, good running back, could catch the football out of the backfield, could run the football, good offensive line, had a presence at tight end, had dynamic receivers. Tennessee's offense in 2021, I believe it was, or 2022, that, a lot of the same, like pick your poison. That's what this offense, that's what they strive to be. And they were way too limited, whether it be the vertical passing game, the run game, whatever. There was too many of those elements that they were missing. And I think that really crippled, what it is that they did do extremely well, or could have really done, over the course of the season extremely well. So they got to become more complete in 2026.
That makes a lot of sense too. And completeness is what a lot of Alabama fans is wanting to hear, especially on the defense side. Herb, I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to answer. If you got anything you wanted to spin back at Clint, I was gonna let you go ahead and do that, but I want you to answer this real quick. Herb, do you feel like you watching what's going on with Alabama right now in the offense? You're seeing how they're trying to get this offensive line already set up. I feel like obviously changes can happen. They can move pieces around. But do you feel like Alabama's setting up their identity maybe to be a physical, or maybe it's going to be a spread, maybe explosive, maybe like Clint said, somewhere in the middle, well-rounded in this? Or do you feel there's an area we're going to try to hit on this?
No, definitely balance. I think because, obviously what he said, that's the clear answer there. Trying to get the run game going. But I think it's also balanced because you need to help out your young quarterback. Whoever you have win this job, this is their first full year. And you can't put him in. Like, I understand Ty was first year, but you have to feel like Ty was probably a little bit further along than both these guys, being in the system, son of a coach. I feel like he was probably even a little more mature than these guys versus where they've come in. Austin Mack, still young, has really only known, this system. Keon Russell, still a young guy. I think that they're setting this up to where, we all know Grubb wants to throw. It's like you said, Clint, Grubb wants to throw the ball a lot. But you have to help these guys out. Because we already saw, hey, you can come up with some great stuff for the first half of the year. But the second half of the year, when everybody figured you out, and the defense has got a lot better on that back end, things just kind of fell apart at times. So, no, you do have to get this running game going because you have to help these quarterbacks out as much as possible. Ty could probably handle the load of, let me get out there and throw the ball this much. You cannot have Austin Mack or Keelan Russell coming out here starting games going 30, 40 times like we saw in Florida State. It just does not end well for Alabama.
That is true. Well, Clint for sure making his round. I said it the other day. I said Clint done hit Herb and Raj, been on Way Offside. Shout out to Way Offside, right, guys. If you don't know, now you know. Go get them guys a subscribe over at their channel. That man Clint has popped up on all the Bama content creator shows. But love it, man, love it. And Herb, that's a great answer. Did you have anything?
No, I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay,
yeah, because he covered it. He covered it. So I was just trying to sound smart at the end. So
Herb's like, I know JT might clip this, so let me use my words real quick. Oh, that's funny. So Damo, real quick, man. Offensive identity for Alabama. Obviously, we're in spring right now, so we don't know. We're speculating a little bit here, like Clint said. He feels you will not see the passing necessarily go away when we're like 2009, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram handed off here. But I'm going to ask you this. What players do you feel this season, and I said players in the plural here, that you feel maybe dictate the tempo of this team that can set up the offense identity?
Well, for one, I'm going to definitely go Ryan Coleman-Williams and Latsir Brooks. I feel like those will be, your main two guys on the outside. And, I did a video of what I thought they were trying to make this offense look like. And I said 2023 Washington, right, where they had the great offensive line. They had the 2 to 3 lead guys on the outside. And then they had the running back Johnson, who ran for like 1,800 yards. So I think you definitely got to look at Ryan and Lottie as the receiver leaders. Offensive line wise, you got Racing Delgatti. I hope I didn't say his name wrong. But I'm gonna be looking at Michael Carroll as well, man. Coming back as really that alpha along the offensive line, all freshman team. And then you got Daniel Hill, right? They said he's really taking control of that running back spot. Great opportunities, losing the 10 to 15 pounds. So he is looking good in the spring as well. So you're gonna need those guys to really step forward and be alphas because you're gonna have a new starting quarterback in this offense. So I'm looking at those guys right there.
I like it.
You muted, JT.
I'm muted. I was trying to make sure I didn't mess around. I was trying to get my Lottie Brooks jersey real quick. You brought him up. I had to show off jersey real quick. Yeah. So I think that the way you look at that is it. Ryan Coleman Williams will definitely be one of the tempo setters. Buddy posted that clip on Twitter, and I talked to Damo and Hunter on the phone, and it was the first 15 minutes of the video. And I said, guys, that video probably shouldn't have been posted. I don't think it. This will be taken down in a minute, like no joke. And it was. But then it had getting ripped so much at that point that I was like, yeah, well, might as well post it because everybody else has at that point. And it was no more secret. It shows you how quick something just on media can just because the other day Ryan Williams, he dropped a pass from Ty Simpson, blase. Then this dude's out 3 touchdowns. And people be like, he was against a true freshman. Yes, that is true. And that true freshman had clamps on him too. If you look in that end zone, go back and watch it frame for frame. Honestly, should have been pass interference because he was so on him. And Williams still comes down with a contested catch. Love it. I also saw some of these catches right here.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that too, because I think some fans they get kind of confused, because you hear fans saying like, "Hey, when you bring up Ryan Coleman Williams, what's the first thing they say? Like, is he gonna catch it? Is he gonna drop it? He got to start dropping it, And then when you see a video of him making plays that we're used to seeing him do, then they're like, okay, well, it's just practice. Well, listen, like it all starts in practice, like. Right. You're going to practice how you play, right? So if he's making catches like that in practice, like I got full confidence that he will come back and be doing it like we've seen him do it time and time again in game situations.
I'm a married man, bro, and that man's engaged now. He's got a whole other thing going on, man. He's got a whole other realm of his life, okay? So that man, he is focused, okay? He is focused. So Clint, real quick.
One of the things that I did want to mention with that, number one, is it didn't happen this way. I guarantee you it didn't happen this way. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that were very upset that video got out. I think it was good for Alabama and for Ryan Williams, though, for that video to leak, because I feel like at this point, the negativity, like you want his confidence. Like I think he kind of got some of the yips. And like one of the things when Seth McLaughlin went to Ohio State, it was a fresh start. It was a new environment. He had a coaching staff that really put a huge emphasis on confidence building. And because it's just a mind thing, it gets to be a mind thing. And Ryan Williams is always going to drop passes here or there. I just think that's kind of who he is. What we saw last year was just the absolute extreme of that. And that became a confidence issue. So the fact that it leaked and maybe that can get some people off of his back, I thought that was great. Now, me with the video, I ended up going back and watching the Ryan catches. I thought that was all great. That's what everybody was talking about. Me, I'm over here saying, I'm getting full 11-on-11 clips, people posting. Let me go find out who's lining up where. And I'm playing Nancy Drew.
I saw you putting the lines on people. You were like, this is the Wolf, this is the Bandit.
Yeah.
And the lineup, you had Pierre out there.
If you give me any of that stuff, I'm going to go. I'm like, everybody's talking about the catches and stuff. That's great.
Was it Umi Ogalu that was opposite of Yonze Pierre?
Yeah, they had so Devin Tompkins was clearly playing on the interior because they had Des Zulu on the outside, and I'm guessing based off of positioning of the camera, and he seemed to be playing to the field side, so it seemed like he was playing Bandit, and then Yonze, of course, was playing. From everything that I saw as far as clips and stuff, I would say that Des is probably playing a lot of Bandit right now. There was some talk about him playing Wolf early, but I've been noticing him at Bandit a lot. So those lines are being blurred. So that's okay. But yeah.
So Clint,
what up, Don?
What up, Don? Before we go on to the next subject, Don had a question for you real quick. He said, Clint, most likely to become a starter, Derek Meadows, Noah Rogers, Rico Scott, Kevin Riley, Draker Patrick Jr. Which one of these guys he's saying maybe is most likely to become a starter here?
Yeah.
Great question, first of all. I think the easy answer is Noah Rogers, just because of all these guys. I mean, Rico's getting opportunities with the ones. Kevin Riley's getting opportunities with the ones. Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. even is getting some opportunities. But and Derek Meadows might be too. I haven't really heard anything on him, but Noah Rogers is the one who was kind of brought in. He's the transfer portal addition. Kind of feels he was brought in for a reason. If he's not wide receiver 3, he's probably going to be wide receiver 2, or wide receiver 4. So, I mean, all these guys have a chance to, but I think the most likely would be Noah Rogers.
That makes sense there. And we're going to let Clint, we're going to go right into our next topic. We only got Clint for a little bit here. So we're going to go right into this one right here, guys. ADay games around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you guys may have been to ADay. I know Herb's is ADay veteran right here, okay? This man's an ADay veteran, okay? I'll tell y'all a story on another episode about Herb
Oh, my
and,
goodness.
fast drinks.
Oh.
So I tried to come on Saturday night and tell that episode because
man.
that was a good story. Fun times. But anyway, so ADay, great times, guys. Don't know if you've ever been. If you haven't, I suggest to go. It is a great time. It is free to actually get in the game. I would actually be okay with if everybody got charged $5 a head and the players got paid that money. I think that $5 wouldn't kill nobody. And if you turn around with what that could do to, give players money too, I think that would be something good. But hey, neither here nor there. I don't make the calls, but I'll put it out there. Clint. ADay game for Alabama. It's April the 11th, 1 p.m. Central Time on the local kickoff for that. 2 hours now. They're going back to the full-fledged thing. What can fans actually learn from ADay that may translate to fall? Because you're going to get a lot of the Brian Williams videos from scrimmage, and he's going to have 4,000 yards this year, or whatever. But what can we actually look at and be like, that's going to show up in fall time? You're going to see that in fall time.
The number one thing that the top things that I look for, number one, how a guy looks physically. I think putting him in full pads, I really want to see Devin Tompkins. How they're moving, I think, is important. Does Devin Tompkins, if he's playing bandit, does he look comfortable playing bandit? And then outside of that, probably the number one overall thing is usage. How are guys being used? Is Jan Zapier on the field at the same time as Justin Hill? Are they using Xavier Griffin as an edge rusher situationally in some of these instances? Are they using Lottie Brooks on the perimeter? Obviously, he's going to be playing, he's going to be one of the 2 primary receivers, so there's plenty of times where he's going to be lining up on the outside. But how often is that? We know he's primarily a slot receiver. He's going to spend a huge chunk of his time in the slot. What does that look like? Who's playing the H and the Y as far as the tight ends? Where's Ty Haywood playing? Is he playing guard? Is he playing tackle? These are the things that I always take note of. And then also, from that point forward, you can really start to look at how guys are performing. Now, granted, I actually pay way more attention to the trench play than I do like the wide receivers and the defensive backs. It's great to see those guys competing and stuff. But I mean, I think it's kind of telling, some of these skill positions on offense, you see guys go off in these types of environments, and then that doesn't really translate to anything because it's all dependent upon who you're going against. If you're going against 2s and 3s and walk-ons and all that, I mean, if you're making plays on those groups, that's great. And that's encouraging if you're young, but that doesn't mean you're going to be doing that against, high-level NFL talent in the SEC once fall rolls around. So for me, it's always been about usage is the number one thing. Anytime I can see practice or clips, I'm trying to figure out how are guys being used. And I feel like if you can start there and what to look for, you can really start to get an idea of what's going to be going on come the fall.
Yeah, so that right there, it might have been the best answer I think I've ever heard for somebody to give me what can translate from spring to fall, Clint.
Thank you.
That right there is excellent work there. And I want to double down on any time I hear Jan Zapier's name, I'm going to double down on it. Herb's laughing. Damo's probably going to laugh too. Last offseason, all I did was say, Clint, it was this time last year, too. I was screaming, Jan Zapier, Jan Zapier, Jan Zapier. You guys need to know him. And he showed out. Now going to be number 0 this year. I think that's going to be great, too. Real quick, before we get you out of here, though, Clint, because I know you got to bounce, man. Check this out. Cotton had a question I think was pretty good right here. Question for Clint. Can you talk more about thoughts on, I cannot say his name correctly.
Mboumwa
Coming on and what that means for Tompkins at Bandit.
Yeah, that's another great question. Mboumwa is one that, like, hearing what I heard, and Jimmy was the one that brought it up on our show. He had talked to somebody, they had brought up Steve Mboumwa and the fact that he had done really well and had been doing well in some of these practices, especially recently. And then so I started specifically contacting people about Mboumwa and the stuff that I heard. I mean, and really the amount of snaps that he was getting with the first team. It's not like, with even guys like Kevin Riley and like, I mean, Derek Meadows, probably, like, different players, like, they're getting some opportunities with the ones, but Steve was getting significant opportunities. And granted, I know London Simmons is out, and that does have a lot to do with it. And Jeremiah Beeman is still, being worked back into things a little bit, but still they are loaded up on the interior. So the fact that he's getting that many opportunities and he's doing some really good things. When you watched him last year, in some of those, and granted, it was in the games, it was typically against inferior opponents, big time inferior opponents, but he was dominating guys, and you could tell he was raw from a technical standpoint, had a lot of work to do, but you saw the sheer power that he brings to the table, how much of a problem he can be for opposing offenses once everything starts to click. And from the sound of it, not saying that it officially has, but it feels like, or it sounds like it's starting to click. So that's number one. That's really encouraging. They are loaded on the interior of their defensive line. And that is something, when you look at some of these best Alabama teams, not saying, as far as the high-end NFL talent, I don't know necessarily that they got the Jonathan Allens or the Ashawn Robinsons or the Quinnen Williams or the Marcel Dariuses. I don't know necessarily that they have those guys. They might, but I'm saying none of them have established themselves as like one of those dudes. They have a nice potential rotation that could even withstand an injury or two. Obviously, you don't want to lose anybody, but I think that's important. And the fact that you have him coming on, you've got Isaiah Fogger coming on, doing some great things. You've got Terrence Green. I mean, you've got a number of different players who are doing a lot of good things, and London Simmons is going to be a part of that rotation come the fall. I think that makes them a lot more comfortable utilizing Devin Tompkins as a bandit. There are going to be plenty of situations where you really don't want him out there because it's not really going to fit his skill set. But as far as feeling like, hey, we brought him in more so to be an interior player, which is what I think was originally the goal. They're now more so looking at it of, okay, he has some limitations as far as being able to stop the run on early downs and things like that. So maybe we can limit his time he has to spend inside to, those obvious passing situations where he can be one of your most impactful pass rushers. So I think it's going to allow him to move around and play to his strengths, which I think is going to make him an overall better player. So I don't know how much action Steve Mboumwa will get come the fall. Like, I mean, it's one scrimmage. It's super encouraging. Don't want to discredit it at all. I'm just saying I'm not going to run with it and say, oh, it's Steve Mboumwa is going to be one of those top dudes come this fall. But I am I'm starting to get really excited because we all knew. I thought it would probably take a little bit longer than this, but we knew it was going to come at some point. And when it did, he was going to be a massive problem for opposing offenses.
Yeah. And Green, I've heard as well is really great. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he come from USC?
Devin
Green's Oregon.
Green's Oregon. What's the
Tompkins
who's
is
the
USC.
One again?
USC,
Tompkins. I'm getting them confused.
Yeah.
We got guys in on the offense and defense of line. And if you talked about how you said you did that with LSU, I wonder what an Alabama one. You probably have done it, but an Alabama one will probably look on that front line on both defense and offense is probably just new. It is solid new. Obviously, Yonsei Pierre will be back, which he'll play probably more on the outside than you'll see him inside for sure. But still, and then what do we have on offensive line? Michael Carroll and Lloyd.
Return the starters. That's it.
They're not started. Well, they started.
Will Sanders whenever he's back
from
injury.
And, and Sanders. Yeah. So that right there, oh man. So that would be, that's.
I'm starting to feel really good about the trenches, guys. Like, now, granted, I mean, and we do this every offseason. I really am going to try to keep myself grounded because I start looking at some of this stuff, and you can talk yourself into a lot of things. And like I said, my emotions, if I get carried away, I can run with this. And next thing I know, I'm like, they're going undefeated. They're beating everybody by 40. And it's,
I do the same thing, bro.
And it's not going to happen no matter how much I hype it up. The only way it happens is if we see it on the field come the fall. There's nothing that's going to get me to that point this offseason. But I will say the trenches were my biggest concern about this team, especially with the offensive line, but also just with all the new with the defensive line. We wanted to see, how does that, the defensive front complement what we think is going to be a really strong secondary. Well, from what we've been hearing and seeing, I think they like how some of these guys are coming along, and so I'm excited to see what that ultimately ends up looking like.
So I want to ask you a question. So I know they had Michael Carroll playing at guard beside Javen James. So with how high they are on Javen James, could you kind of go ahead and say like he's got a great chance to really be a starter like already?
Yes, I would actually say he has not officially been named a starter, and there are plenty of scenarios. There's plenty of scenarios where Jackson Lloyd's not your left tackle, or Racing Delgado's not your center. The only one that I think is as close to 100% locked in as you can possibly get is Michael Carroll. The other guys, when you have your offensive coordinator not only saying something, but then double and triple downing on it, you're in a pretty good spot. But that doesn't mean anything's automatic.
I don't think DeBoer was too happy about that, though, when he was in that interview the other day. And he said, I know Grubb said what he said, but every day is a challenge.
Yes.
Imagine Nick Saban getting asked that question. Oh, my God.
I'm imagining had Ryan Grubb actually accepted the offensive coordinator position when Nick Saban reportedly offered it to him. Because if he would have brought that down here, that would have been handled real. In fact, who am I kidding? We would have never spoke to Ryan Grubb unless they were in the college football playoff and they had to have the coordinators. Who am I kidding? But we're getting them less and less this offseason. I was kind of disappointed in that, but I also kind of understand it. We heard from them, I think, once, and I don't know if we're going to hear from them again for the rest of the spring. So it's unfortunate. But at the same time, getting back to Javen James, Javen's in a really good spot right now. The coaching staff brought him in with the expectation that he was going to push for a starting job. Yeah. And so far he is, especially this past week, he really started to come on strong. And so as long as that continues, I do think that he's going to ultimately end up being a starter. So I think right now you've pretty much got 4 starters kind of locked in. Once again, it's not 100%. It's just positioning them where they can go ahead and start building around a unit and getting them to gel so you won't see some of these. It just never looked right in 2025 at all with the offensive line or the tight ends or the receivers. But, I mean, more so offensive line and tight ends than anybody. And it's like, okay, well, now's the time to be getting those guys on the same page and working alongside one another. And so the fact that, Michael Carroll's got some experience. It's not a ton, about a half a year's worth, but that's something. And he's, played in this system, so that's good. You got Javen James, who's a multi-year starter. You got Racing Delgado, definitely a big step up in competition, but he's got multiple years as a starting player. And so, Jackson Lloyd did get some meaningful action. Will Sanders did get some meaningful action, more than Jackson Lloyd actually. But, I mean, overall, I'm feeling good about this offensive line and where it's trending. It's just a matter of, the guys got to continue to put their heads down and go to work. But Adrian Clem, I think he's the type where he's going to demand that is the approach each and every day. So I'm excited about it for sure.
And hey guys, before I let Clint give out all his info on where you can find him out, we actually just yesterday, me and Landon Teaguell, former Penn State offensive lineman, we had a special segment where me and him sat down and talked Javen James. He broke down his film that is posted right now on the channel. Go over to the videos, watch it, guys. It's done really well as too, and Landon has some great points on Javen James and talks about his pass pros versus what DeBoer said about his run cons, where it's like DeBoer even said this the other day. He said, hey, his pass pro is great. Yeah. And he was like, but there's sometimes during the run, you're just like, yeah, okay, there's some things we got to work on, but you like to hear that. I think that's exciting. And I encourage you guys, if you want more about Javen James, definitely go check out that video because it is very informational. And Landon Teaguell comes from an experience standpoint on that too. And he doubles what Clint just said right there, basically. So yeah, it was a really great time with him the other day, man. Hey, Landon knows his stuff. What's up, bro?
Before you let Clint go, I just got a question for him.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what is your thoughts and your opinions on the comments that James Smith said the other day about the whole Ohio State and how the SEC is just kind of big and slow, and then like the pace over there is fast? Like when you seen that, like what was your initial thoughts on that?
A couple things. Number one, I think there's probably, and maybe this finds its way to Ohio State fans and it gets me in trouble, but I am speaking what I think is going on. I think probably there's some level of hurt feelings because I don't think Alabama pushed him out the door by any means.
Yeah.
But I don't think they chased him very hard. You know, I don't think they were, and granted, that type of player, former 5-star, had been in your rotation and including being a starter this past season, like that feels like a piece that you would normally really prioritize as far as keeping. And I don't feel like there was just a ton of effort to keep him. And I think in some ways, you know, that might have rubbed him the wrong way. I think maybe some of the fans' reaction to him leaving, like anytime it happens, fans, unless you're Caleb Downs, even with Caleb Downs, I mean, you even saw it with him. Fans are going to justify and tell you every reason it's okay. And I get that because there's a part of me that does that. But I mean, you know, from that standpoint, you know, oh, he's lazy. He was inconsistent. And granted, there's levels of truth to that, but maybe it was hurt feelings over that. And I'm sure that, you know, right now, I mean, obviously Ohio State's got a good program and stuff. They're going to go about things the right way, I'm sure. But I just don't think the point that he made about it was a transition period going from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. The focus was so much on the transition, especially in year one, but I'm sure at least to some extent in year two as well, that it maybe can take away from some of the other stuff because you're so worried about making sure that all of your ducks are in a row as far as how you operate and do things. And so, I mean, I can see where it would be a little bit different. I mean, Ron Day's been around for a while. He's been doing it his way for a while. They've kind of figured out all of that stuff. So that ends up mattering. But I will say, you know, someone brought up, I remember Damon Payne, his defensive line coach in Michigan the year before, the offseason before. He brought up something that Damon told him just about how things are different at Michigan. And then, you know, the one I didn't remember was Justin Okoronkwo said something, you know, about the strength and conditioning program or something. And so you've had multiple players say that. Now, granted, you've got other players who are going to new schools and talking poorly in some ways or taking subtle shots at their former, you know.
Remember, Kendrick Law did it for Kentucky. Was it last season?
That's another one. I mean, so you've had a handful now. So, I mean, at a certain point, you have a really hard time of distinguishing what is real and what is just – because, I mean, you see all these other places, like someone will leave from Ohio State, they'll go somewhere else and they'll say, man, the way you guys are doing it is way better than what Ryan Day's doing up there in Columbus. And it's like, well, I mean, who's telling the truth? I mean, or is it just everybody, when you get a new girlfriend, she's wonderful, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, hey, there's no flaws with this one. And the part of that is that true, or is that you trying to sell something as far as I came out on the better end of this? That's what I sometimes have a hard time wrapping my mind around. But at the same time, it's going to fuel the fans who are already concerned about the strength and conditioning and the fact that and I have said continuously, I mean, I think, I guess the next step, they were really focused this past offseason on getting big and strong. You know, they wanted to be physically to a point, but from a speed standpoint, I think that needs to be more of the emphasis this offseason. It's not necessarily getting them, you know, big and strong, but the offensive line is a great reflection of that. You know, they're starting to get a little bit smaller. I think there's a bigger emphasis on athleticism. I think you'll probably see a lot of that with some of these other position groups as well. One thing I'll give this coaching staff credit for, they are not, you know, Nick Saban was very set in his ways. You know, there would be things that fans would push back on and say, hey, you know, you need to change this or you need to do this differently. It's a different era. And he always was, I don't give a damn what you think we should do. We're going to do what I think we should do. And I'm going to be right 99.9% of the time. And he was, but I think this coaching staff, they see it too. They're not idiots. And what I'm encouraged about is a lot of the problems that fans had, you see a pretty big emphasis on trying to get those things fixed. And so I'm encouraged about that. And it's just a matter of, okay, now that I know that you're putting an emphasis on getting it fixed, you know, getting a little bit, you know, as far as the simplicity on offense, it's not all this, hey, we'll do the creative, throw the wrinkles in, do all that. Once we master the simple stuff, once we can execute, you know, all of the things that we're supposed to be able to do at an elite level, and then we expand from there. It's like that feels like it should be day one type of, thought process. But he was a new offensive coordinator. He was trying to learn his new pieces. And I think he wanted to put a little razzle dazzle on it. And he was trying to overcompensate for some of the struggles that they were having, or he expected them to have as far as the offense and ended up having as far as the run game. So I'm curious to see what it looks like in year two for sure.
Yeah, I am too. I think that'll be a very interesting one. Herb, you got anything for Clint, man, before we let him go, big dog?
Are we letting him off the hook easy today, or does he want to be tortured before he
Hang
leaves?
on. I think my internet's starting to crap. Hold up. If you got something for me, hit me with it.
All right.
Oh,
Because
man.
we didn't get to do this the other night, so we'll throw this one in here. Work, play, live, ditch. I'll give you 4 names. You slot
Work,
them into
play,
your
live,
category.
ditch.
Yeah.
Yes. We made you do this one time on our show with Ty Simpson, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and Jalen Milroe. And which was interesting. That video, we put it out there, and somebody quoted on it, why are you comparing these quarterbacks? They were mad. I said, you clearly didn't even watch the video. It's a fun video. Like, go watch the video, stop commenting. So
Yeah. That is the social media.
yes. I'll let you pick, though. Do you want the personal or the players?
The players, for sure.
Okay.
1,000.
I'll let you know.
And if you hit me with since you want players, we're going to go with the personal,
No. Too much respect for you to throw you out like that. So we are going to go with the Heisman Trophy edition. Work, play, live, ditch. 4 names. 1 you work with. 1 play. That's, hey, I'm going out with them Friday night. Live. That's my roommate. Ditch. When they call you, you send them to voicemail. Your 4 people: Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Devontae Smith, Bryce Young.
Oh boy. I got to literally write it down so I can actually look at it. Ditch. I kind of want to go ahead and get that one knocked out, but
that's usually where people start, to be honest.
Yeah. Once again, here we go. So play, when you say play, like hang out with, is that what that means?
Yeah, like they call you up, y'all are heading out on Friday night.
Dude, I feel like Mark Ingram's pretty fun. So he would definitely be play for sure. I mean, anytime I've never really been around him, but you can just tell with his energy and the way he conducts himself. Bryce Young, I feel like hold up. I need to be careful here because I might. I probably would live with Bryce. I feel like he would be very respectful as a roommate. I feel like I can talk to him. I mean, he's literally the son of, a psychologist, right? So he knows how to approach people and all that. So I feel like he's got probably a great roommate, very mindful of those who he lives with. So that means I'm down to Derrick Henry or Devontae Smith. Man, see, this is why I didn't want to go about it this way. Now I screwed up.
I just want to know who's getting your ditch, man. Who's going to play?
That's gonna be the tough one.
Herb is getting my ditch.
Oh,
That's a good one.
The pain.
Yeah.
The pain.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, Cat said ditch, bro.
This is.
It's tough.
We're going to turn this into a 2-hour show because I can't make a decision. I'm I want to ditch. Devontae Smith. I want to ditch Devontae Smith, and that means I'm working with Derrick Henry.
With Derrick Henry, yes. I mean, you can get him to do all the lifting.
Definitely all the lifting.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would have ditched Derrick Henry because have you seen his off-season workouts? I don't want no. I don't want no.
Domo, imagine his meals. You trying to go eat lunch, and you trying to eat a whole turkey.
I don't want no price in that at all. So I would have had to ditch Derrick Henry.
You got to surround yourself with people with who have achieved what you're looking to achieve, though. That was good job, Herb.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Yeah, so I think that right there is the do or die one. Work, play, live, ditch. I think that's the do or die. Clint, we are very, very appreciative of what you've done for us tonight, guys. And I'm speak for everybody on our panel and everybody in our chat for coming on our show. We went over, man. I apologize about
no problem.
Time. We're gonna probably call it a night as well with you. But before we get out of here, I'm gonna let you tell the people know where they can find you at. All your great content. If you ain't following them on all of the social media, I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's Clint Lamb. Let them know where they can find you at, brother.
Yeah, you can find me at Clint R. Lamb if you want to follow along on Twitter. We have a daily show, or at least weekday show on Cover Crimson. Also do some stuff with Jimmy Stein as far as
Love that.
some pre-recorded stuff. And then if you are not really a YouTube person, which I know some aren't, I guess if you're listening live, you probably are. But for those who are, more so enjoy the podcast side of it, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, the Cover Crimson channel. All you got to do is search the Cover Crimson Podcast Network, and that should pull it up. And once again, fellas, I appreciate y'all having me on. This was a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do this again. Right now, I've been telling everybody, and Herb obviously knows this. I took a break there for a while, but I'm making the rounds now.
Yeah.
I'm getting back out there, football talk. I love it. And so I appreciate y'all welcoming me on the show, and we'll definitely have to do this again soon.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
We're
Always,
very appreciative to have you on, brother. Herb, let the people know where they can find you at, man. What you got going on, big dog?
Herb and Raj podcast. We'll probably have a guest this Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Saturday, I will be in Dallas with Raj, so I have no idea how that's going to go. And I've already got the rubber shot glasses ready, so it could be a good time. We will see that, and then right back, keep locked in for us because building up to ADay. So a lot of content coming.
It's gonna be some great content when you get Herb and Raj together.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see that, brother.
Okay. I can't wait either. It's gonna be exciting. Hadamo, let the people know where they can find you at, man. Let them know about the TikTok stuff you put out daily, big dog, and all the great stuff you do, brother.
Well, we're working on TikTok, man. We are definitely working. So I did a live like a month or two ago, and I said, if I hit 10K before the season, I would do a jersey giveaway. So I am sticking to that. We're like 1,400 away. So once we hit 10K, I will be doing a jersey giveaway before the season. You can find me Friday nights, my guy Hunter, Bama Blueprint with my guy Corey as well. Sorry, right? And then you can find me here Sunday night talking Bama with my guys JT and Herb. Clint, you the GOAT, bro. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah.
But in all, you can find me on the best Bama channel that there is, the Roll Tide Nation YouTube channel. You can find me on TikTok at Domo Reacts. That's DOMO_reacts. I'm trying to get on Twitter and Instagram, and it's Domo Reacts there. I will be at ADay along with, my guys. And also, I will also have a gender for you guys next week, right?
And if you guys don't know in here right now, Damo is expecting around October.
Yeah.
So GOAT months. Expecting around October. That's also Damo's birthday month as well.
Yeah.
What's up, Herb?
In true fan fashion, he marks it by the game. So he tells us the baby is due the Georgia game.
He did. That was in the group chat.
Yes,
That was
literally the due date is like the day
I
after the game.
Georgia game.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
So I will have a gender for you guys next week. So yeah.
Hey, Damo is super exciting. We'll announce that on the channel as well. We are everybody here. I speak with everybody too, man. We are super proud of you, man. Super congratulations with that, man. Having a child is a huge blessing in today's world.
I appreciate that.
And also, guys, if you don't know, now you know. We got Talking Bama t-shirts.
We
got Bama Blueprint shirts, guys, and they're locked in on the channel right now. Make sure you guys check them out. If we see you wearing a shirt at ADay, got a special surprise for you as well. Also, hey, I got to show this off, man, because Fileline left. Signed Fileline jersey, baby.
Yeah.
Got a signed Fileline jersey. That man is the GOAT. I'm going to have to frame that and never wear it again because that's it. But, guys, been a great show. Thank you guys for joining us. Clint, sorry for keeping you a little bit longer, brother. Thank you so much, man. And as always, guys, Damo, what we tell them?
We don't give a piss about nothing but the tide, baby.
Give me Bama by 55.